You know what tank this is. You clicked on this video knowing dang well what you were going to see. Chances are you've already played this tank, and if you haven't, you've probably played against it. There's not a lot of brawling tanks in this game that win just by surviving. This one's the king of that. Few tanks have the sheer amount of staying power that this tank does tier for tier. It did get nerfed recently, as the T123 also got nerfed, and Wargaming just loves doing these blanket nerfs to a whole line of tanks instead of just the one that needs fixing. 2 patches ago, they nerfed the AMX 65T for the 3rd time, because the tier 10 in that line was too powerful. I wish I was making that up. That actually happened. This tank actually existed. It was a big feat of engineering that proved to be worthless, since the tank couldn't traverse most terrains and ultimately was never used in service. The only thing it really did was be used as a test subject for loading trucks. The trucks could test their weight capacities. That tire's like me after Taco Bell. While the tank is big, it's not really fat, it's just big boned. Sure, it's as wide as a mobile game's paywall, but a lot of that is just tracks or space armor. It does fit lovely into the 21:9 cinematic resolution, though, which makes it really easy to... Wait, I already did that for the intro. Anyways, there's like 6 different 750 Alpha tank destroyers at tier 9 or so. This one being the 3rd one we're going to cover. They're all different in various ways, and this is the one with armor. You probably gathered that just by looking at it. There was one video uploaded many years ago of a replay by a fairly popular British streamer showing the T95 being played by someone named Boberdog, who crossed the field on Malinovka on his own right at the start of the game, spotted everybody, got a patrol duty and a scout medal, and lived. That battle occurred in an era when the tank only went 14 kph as a hard capped top speed. And this is before there was anything to increase your top speed. The only 2 things that would increase your top speed temporarily were a downhill slope or a cliff. I won't show you footage of this video but it's not too hard to look it up and find it, because it started the legend of the T95 that lasts to even now. That moving wall of just death coming towards you that you can't do anything to stop. Since then, countless videos, reviews, discussions, mods, recommendations, buffs, nerfs, etc. have been made about this tank, and with good reason. It's one of the most powerful tanks in the entire game, and I don't put that lightly. There's a ton of games where one team wins simply because a T95 just exists at the front line, and there's nothing the enemy team can manage to do together to kill it. It's far from immortal, though. Like the 263, it just has a ton of weird little weak spots that aren't hard to hit if you know about them. Well, most of them. On the subject of those cupolas, though, for some reason when they remodeled the T28 and T95 into HD, whenever that patch was, they made the cupolas of the T28 into perfect circles. The cupolas of the T95 are hexagons. I don't know how else to say this, but they're the same tank. Why is this a thing? At its core, the T28 and T95 are the same. Difference being, the T95 has a second set of tracks, which was the whole point. They also gave it a 155mm gun, because America. It's the same gun as the T30, though this time it has armor out the wazoo instead of the turret, and it seems to be more reliable than the T30's gun in general, though you're hopefully closer to the enemy when you use it. Equipment-wise, the tank itself is one of those tanks that's just kind of cursed, where having 4 equipment slots would be absolutely amazing, but unfortunately, in this case, that's not a thing. Hardening, turbocharger, improved aiming unit, and a gun rammer are all very viable, and improve parts of the tank that really benefit from those pieces of equipment being used. Turbo is nearly necessary, considering the tank only goes 20. Hardening's incredibly important for multiple reasons, not the least of which being fully repaired tracks when they repair on their own from a damaged state. The issue is between having an improved aiming unit and a gun rammer. There's a somewhat large debate in the community right now as to the viability of gun rammers on some tanks over other equipment, and a lot of people just kind of write it off, because most tanks are better with gun rammers, but this thing really starts to struggle to connect shots past 250 meters if you don't have improved aiming unit. While both are important, having a gun rammer ended up in me having shots miss faster rather than, you know, hitting them slower. There's an argument to be had about both being very viable, which is why it's a point of contention. I recommend both, but you can only have really one if you take hardening and turbo, like I do. You'll have to pick, and on some maps like Paris and Ensk, you can probably get away with not having improved aiming unit, but then there's inevitable games like on Redshire or something where you're more than likely going to take a couple shots from distance at least. Steps is another one of those. As there's not a lot of wiggle room to run multiple setups on this tank because it, you know, it's pretty set in its ways. It's big, it's slow, it has a ton of armor, and it hits hard. You can't really make this thing into like a speed demon or like make a spotting setup for it. I wouldn't recommend that anyway. But I've seen people run, I actually saw someone run Grouser's rotation mechanism and a turbocharger and fuel and just turn as fast as possible. And it's actually kind of terrifying to see how fast a T95 can actually turn. I'm not ever gonna run that, but I can kind of understand it, considering how easy this thing is to flank and how that's the go-to strategy to killing it. But you could probably just run one setup with a rammer and one setup with improved aiming unit, and then just decide which one's your favorite by using them both, or alternatively just switch between them, because there's two setups now that you can pick between during the countdown screen. In other news, even though I just said, you know, don't make a scouting setup with it, this tank has one of the best camos among any of the tier 9 tank destroyers, which I understand from Wargaming's, you know, tank height logic perspective, which they just throw away for other things, but it's, you know, whatever. It's still a tad bizarre for a brawling tank to have good camo, right? You can get up to 34% moving camo, which is only 7% worse than a Walker Bulldog. Why you would ever do that, I'm not sure, since there's basically no practical situation where that's a thing you should care about. Maybe Prokhorovka, but having a setup for the one map seems kind of pointless. You can't really be sneaky. You go 24 kph with a turbo. You won't consistently do well doing that, but some people still do it. It was really annoying during the T123 on track because you would just find super heavy tank destroyers sitting at the back of the map the whole time. It was just really annoying. But no, this thing belongs up in the fight. Keyword being in. You have more armor than Optimus Prime and the gun to match. An absolute brute in most tank fights on most maps, since it's hard to pen, and nobody wants to get hit by a T95. I've seen same tier heavy tanks retreat from a flank completely, simply because a T95 is there. I've seen games won solely because one team has a T95 and the other team didn't, being given like a Sturv 103 or Conway or something. Since there wasn't anything that can kill the T95 just wins. Now, all of that's, you know, fine and dandy. A tank being an absolute brute in close range fighting situations is nothing new in this game. That's basically half the tier 10s. The same can be said for long range fights. There's just one problem with that. Getting to one. The whole time I've been talking about that, the tank has been traveling to the battle at top speed. The only thing slower than this is my upload schedule. The reason this thing's mark of excellence is only as high as it is, and the tortoise marks as well, is because the tank only goes up to 24 kph with a turbo, like I've mentioned multiple times, because it's pretty important. There are so many games where the fight will just end as soon as you get to it, if not before you even get there. Obviously, if this tank went like 40 kph on flat ground, it would be outrageously insane, but it still matters that it's that slow. More or less, the only choice in this tank you have to make is, where do I go? If you end up being wrong, there goes your entire game probably. That's assuming there's still a fight to be had by the time you get there. Regardless of anything else, it can be a lot of fun. Queue up 3 of them together, and it's some of the most aggressive fun I've ever had in this game. They also sold people a camo for like 5 million credits in an auction, which no one even bought except me, which was kind of interesting. Normally, I wouldn't show you just the good parts of a tank, because I feel like someone would point out, well, you say you don't do that, but then this video only has like really good highlights. I'm only showing the good parts of the tank because the alternative is watching And I figured you'd rather see what it's capable of when you actually get to play the tank in a fight, since that's why you bought it. So, here you go. Yeah, I'm just... Yeah. Eric, side scrape. If you side scrape, they can't hit your lower plate. This is good. Yeah, Eric, side scrape. It's gonna suck. Yep. I feel like this is one of those games where someone's gonna dive for no reason at all. Oh, what a low roll. 665. What a low roll. Hey. Oh, come on. That doesn't pen. Okay, fair enough. He missed the return. Okay, fair enough. He's got a rammer. That's good to know. He's got a gun rammer. Oh, that's a tank I never want to drive. Yes! That's big. Oh, he fired! Go, 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 he fired! I'll gladly go first. I'll gladly go first. Oh, super bridging. Yes, poke to shoot. No, stay exposed. Oh, come here. Come here, come here, come here. Come here. Free candy. And you get lucky. Free candy. There you go, Eric. Alright, I'm gonna get hit in the side for this, but... Hello? He gave up. I think he gave up. Alright. Hello? I actually did ramming damage thanks to Eric's pushing. Yes. There we go. There we go. A good game. Perfect. That was an ace. That's got to be right on the cusp of an ace then, because that was an ace. Granted, 5 kills and a lot of damage, but... I also don't know why this map has a weird color palette. You can see the colors on the camo look a little faded compared to normal. Or they just look faded in general. Right, I guess I'll try and shoot at the liver. Or that guy as he comes back across for some reason. He's gonna wait till I get unspotted. That's when he's gonna re-peek that far. There we go. That one was lucky, because I hit his side. I hate that. I hate that. Because I don't even feel good about that at all. That's just disgusting. Oh, yep, the liver's going. G-Sword's in here as well. Thank you. I really don't want to turn. Also, that thing's in the way. I really don't want to turn my side to those two. That's the SU and the STA. I really don't want to turn my side to those two, because in order to hit this guy, I gotta go around that. And they're almost certainly aimed there now. Alright. You couldn't time that any worse. Ah, well, close. That's what I figured. Thank you. Alright, well, this sucks, actually. Yep, I heard it. Haha, I heard you. And you get lucky. And now we're lagging. Well, we're going forwards, because I don't want to get shot by that guy. I knew he wasn't gonna go far. I knew he wasn't gonna go far. Just because... I knew he couldn't get that far away anyways. The bad news is, I don't know how much HP that serve has, and I also have no idea where the Turtle 1 is. He's still there. He's actually still there. The turtle is actually still at F7. Like he's legit still there. Unbelievable. That is just outrageous. That Turtle 1 is still at F7. This game has been 12 minutes long so far. He is still in his base on full hit points. With binos too, I think, because I don't think he would have seen me otherwise. Like, he's actually still there. Oh, he's not. He's right here. He's gonna drive at me, though. Yeah, we're screwed. Oh well. It was a good try. Oh, get me around the corner. Oh my low roll. Oh my low roll. Oh my low roll.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
Get me under the building. Get me under the building. Okay. All that for a draw, though. He's gonna run. All this for a draw. 7,000 damage and 4 kills. And the 1v3 clutch. I actually, you know how hard I tried to get this mission done? It was almost a call of Benov, because I killed the 777, and then I think artillery died. Glitchy duck, deliver. 5 minutes before that game ended. I have no idea what he's talking about. When he's talking about, because there's a lot.